Hello, people of the internet, and welcome back. We are still trying to figure this out. So this seems to be the right path to take.
Right, but he moved the mirror, and this is taken after the crime has been committed, and the mirror has been moved, so we can see him clearly from the opposite corner. So what is it that should not exist?
I thought it would be the divider, but that doesn't really seem...
No, because I mean, that would still exist either way.
Yeah, what about this wall? I don't know. No. Wait, that's the wrong one.
Yeah,
Blah blah blah, yes, yes.
Evidence from photo should not exist.
So if they're saying there's only 2 tables, even though we know there's 3, but let's roll with there's 2 for now.
Sure.
The silverware and glass, is that just for every table, or...?
It stands to reason that probably...
Because if there's no one sitting there, then why would that be there?
Just to have it look presentable, so this way when a customer comes to sit down, the table's already set.
I suppose. But I could try it, and if it's not that, then I can load. Wait. Okay, so no, that's still wrong. I feel like we presented everything in that picture.
Yeah, but there's something about the picture that we should... This is the way forward, right?
I would assume, considering it takes us here.
Right, it's progressing, so what are we missing?
Something that should not exist.
There's 3 forks on that one table, but I don't see what difference that really makes.
And he said that I did not take anything else.
But he didn't move anything else, he says.
He didn't move anything else, yes.
What's that next to his hand?
Another coffee cup?
No, the other, thing. It looks kind of like the CD bit. Like, right here.
Maybe. I can try it.
It's...
No. Okay, well... Maybe I should present something else?
What else is there?
No.
So we're trying to disprove that the mirror was ever there, right?
I guess... Okay, those are the 3 things that were missing from the crime scene. But none of those were. No. Let's see what else.
And it's on this, we're supposed to present the crime photo, right?
At least I assume, unless that's just leading us down a false path.
It wouldn't do that, though, would it?
I don't know.
Like, because every other time we try to present anything,
it just goes like, that's wrong, you know?
Exactly, so why would it try to do something weird now?
I'm not going to Google the answer, but I am going to ask, is it possible to go down a false path? Phoenix...
Okay. False path.
Yeah, I'm gonna move forward and present the crime photo just so I can look at everything.
Okay.
Nothing about the way he's sitting would necessarily be incorrect.
I'm not saying anything about quote-unquote false paths, but I might not be the term they use. Get rid of the question mark. Okay, that didn't really change anything.
Wrong evidence, maybe?
Because
like, I don't know.
Wrong evidence.
See, I'm sitting here looking at this and I just... What is it that should not exist? Theoretically, there should be a window behind him, but that's irrelevant. The vase is still there. That's irrelevant because Kudo broke the one at his own table when he got up. There's about 4 or 5 scraps of paper. He's laying face down on his left side. This is what it looks like. Which means he would be laying on the earpiece? But Kudo says that he saw it before he collapsed, so I mean...
I'm not seeing anything about anything, so theoretically this should be the correct path. Theoretically. But what to present in the photo?
I don't know. What is something that should not exist in this photo? So the testimony claims that because of the mirror and everything, Mr. Kudo saw him with everything on his
Left side when it should have been his right.
right, so... Is it this chair here because from the angle and everything you wouldn't be able to see it, I guess?
Well,
from the mirror being in the way? And like, I guess something about the reflection, you would, because of this divider, you wouldn't be able to see this one here from the angle that he's supposedly looking at it from? But you would be able to see Glenn? Does that make sense?
no. Not to me at least, but I can try it.
I mean, I don't know what else...
Yeah, that didn't work. We can try that whole window theory you had, I guess.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it should exist, not theoretically not exist, right?
Yeah,
So, I mean, unless it's because the wall shouldn't technically exist because it should be the window?
Should not exist. What is something that should not exist? Window. No. Naturally, I did not touch anything else. So what's something that Armstrong would have touched if we're trying to prove him wrong?
He would have touched?
Yeah, because that we're arguing, you know, we're presenting this on naturally I did not touch anything else.
Right, so what else would he have touched? The coffee cup and the tablecloth, maybe?
Maybe? No.
But we already tried the coffee cup, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe we have the right evidence for presenting it at the wrong place?
I guess, so then what would be here? Go back. Back one more. There is only one seat from which you could have seen an image of the victim. Well, that's wrong, because even with the mirror in the way, there's still another seat from which he could have seen them, according to the floor plans.
Well, I mean, we can try that, I guess. Okay, that didn't work.
I think you selected the wrong one.
I selected the crime scene. Did you not want me to select this?
No, I wanted you to present the floor plans.
Okay. That didn't work.
Oh.
So, yeah, but I did present the crime scene there, and it didn't lead us to that other area, so clearly...
It has to be, I did not touch anything else.
Yeah, and then it's the floor plans, right? Right?
I
And
don't know.
Is there anything about how he's a kleptomaniac?
We don't have anything to necessarily...
Fuck.
But naturally, I did not touch anything else. Presenting the fucking crime photo is what moves it forward, right?
Yeah. And the reason I thought the crime photo would work is because I thought the dividers would be the contradiction, but that was not the case. But there is something here, apparently.
Should not exist. Should not exist in this photo.
So basically we're saying, if you didn't touch anything else, then this shouldn't be there or something. I don't know. What did he plant? Did he plant something?
Did we already try the vase? Because
Well, technically...
I don't remember there being a vase at the victim's table.
No, it's not that.
Well, the fucking music stops and whatnot, so I mean,
And it leads us somewhere. So I just fucking look it up, because clearly we're halfway through this video episode and we got made no progress.
Pause if you want, but I don't remember from this.
Alright.
Okay, I figured it out. We're really, really close. We're just thinking about it slightly wrong.
Okay, how's that?
So, they're trying to claim that... Go to the floor plans real quick.
Okay, floor plans.
Right. Now, according to them, because of the mirror, Kudo was sitting here, right?
Yep.
And when he got up to go call the police and everything, he was in such a rush that he bumped the table and knocked over the vase on his table.
Yes.
There's a vase still sitting on the table. That
Oh
shouldn't
my
be
god.
there, if that's where he's sitting.
You're right. You are absolutely correct. Da, 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 da. Yes. The base. Okay.
We're thinking a little bit too far ahead, I think is.
Yeah. Wow. I think it's pretty obvious that this is what should not be in the picture.
The vase? What possible connection does that have to do with the witness's testimony?
Your Honor, I'm telling you that there have been no vase on this table. Because it very clearly contradicts with this piece of evidence. Kudos. Apology. there is one thing that was clearly demonstrated by yesterday's testimony. Mr. Kudo broke the vase that was on the table where he was sitting. And yet, as the court can see, there is an unbroken vase on the table next to the victim. Why? Because Mr. Kudo was not, in fact, sitting at the table next to the victim at all.
Don't be an idiot, Wright. That's impossible. That seems the only one Kudo could have seen the victim's reflection from.
Exactly. There is only one conclusion we can draw from this contradiction. There was no mirror in the tray bien that day. Your testimony, Mr. Armstrong, is an elaborate lie.
Mon Dieu! Don't try to confuse the court, Wright. Obviously, the witness cleaned up the vase, while the police were taking their time getting to the crime scene.
Unfortunately, Mr. Godot, that doesn't quite work for me. Mr. Armstrong already testified to the contrary. In his own words, I did not touch anything else except the mirror. Also, you can't exactly clean up a spill that easily.
I mean,
like
you
if it's on
can,
tablecloth.
but just because he
that's
cleaned it doesn't mean that, you know, the vase is still broken, so it still wouldn't be there.
Unless he had another vase, but then the tablecloth would still be wet.
Yeah, and he'd have to replace the tablecloth.
Yeah.
And it's like, does he have a whole set of spares of everything? Because being a small restaurant, he's already in debt. I don't think he's frivolously spending like that. You know?
Yeah.
Well, witness, what do you have to say for yourself? Sniffle.
I was right. There is no mirror on that day in the restaurant.
In the light of this revelation, we return back to the original problem. Why did the victim have an earpiece in an ear in which he couldn't hear? Ha. You only get one shot in life. There's no turning back. If you want to claim that the mirror wasn't there, Wright, then this problem is all yours. How do you explain that the old man saw?
If I can answer this, then I'll be that much closer to the truth. I can feel it.
Are you going to be okay? Can you really solve this contradiction, Nick?
There is more than just this one contradiction, Maya.
What do you mean?
Remember what Maggie told us? There was another man at the victim's table. And there was a sample CD on the victim's table. It all flies in the face of Mr. Kudo's testimony. And I think I know what the reason why nothing is in this case is adding up.
Because you're missing like a whole third of it.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Wright, let's hear your answer.
Yes, Your Honor. The reason behind all the contradictions in Mr. Kudo's testimony is simple. Clearly, Mr. Kudo made a mistake.
Mr. Wright, you're the one who brought up all these contradictions.
And?
If you're trying to tell us the old man was just made a mistake, we can wrap this up right now with a guilty verdict. How about it, Mr. Wright? Should I just declare your client guilty? Is that the best you can come up with, Nick?
Shit.
Holy shit.
I was wrong. I'm sorry, Your Honor. I wasn't sure. The other two didn't really seem right. I'm gonna save before I take more damage. Nope. Yes, Your Honor. Okay. The ear doctor? The victim was a phone?
Well, the only other thing, why it doesn't make any sense for the ear doctor to make a mistake. Who cares, anyway? The only thing I can imagine there being an issue is, what if the victim was a phony?
Like Glenn isn't actually dead?
Not that he's not actually dead, but what if it's the wrong person?
Oh, I see what you're saying. What if someone else dressed up as Glenn and lay down on the tape? But why would they do that?
I can't rightly say, but I'm getting the feeling it's something else that points back to Don Tigre.
In this case, the riddle was contradictions. Yet, there is one very simple answer that clears them all up.
And that is?
The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events.
What?
Yes, the victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Mr. Glenn Elg at all. It was an imposter. A phony pretending to be Mr. Elg. Obviously, unlike the victim, there was nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. That's how he ended up wearing the earpiece on his left ear by mistake. Huh?
This is...
Okay, that's not where I was expecting it to go.
Yeah, Order! Order in the court! Settle down or I'll clear the courtroom. Quiet, Gramps. Why don't you clear out of here, huh? What did you say? Try. Are you saying that what Mr. Kudo saw was a setup?
Yes. Someone pretended to be Glenn Elg and acted out the whole coffee poisoning. All for the express purpose of creating a witness out of one Victor Kudo.
Get real, Trey. Why would anyone want to do that?
Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent about in his testimony was the serving girl, blah blah blah, yes.
It's so hard to believe, but...
No, there was one and only one reason to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. To show Maggie Bird in the act of poisoning the coffee.
Are you insinuating that the waitress in the old man's story was a fake as well? It's true that there were no other customers in the restaurant at the time, but... It's also true that the chef was there. He would have noticed what was happening. That's right. Well, witness, if your restaurant really was the scene of such theatrics, you would have known about it, correct? Oh la la, this is most difficult for me.
No, it's quite simple. All I have to do is testify. You are under oath, after all. Was there, in fact, a phony at Tribune that day? The defense demands that Mr. Armstrong tells the whole truth about what happened.
The defense's request for additional testimony is accepted. You will accurately explain, in detail, the events in the restaurant that day. Wait. Oh.
So I guess that makes sense if they did that, because Armstrong would have already been... But then they would have already had a quote-unquote witness in Armstrong, right? They just had to,
Well, it would also explain the contradiction between the fact that Maggie gave him the coffee, but she didn't put anything in it, and she immediately passed out.
Yeah. It does clear up the testimony. I'm just wondering why they went through the whole rigmarole if they already had a quote-unquote witness in Armstrong, you know? They wouldn't need an additional witness. They could just basically Armstrong into testifying for them.
Right. I don't know. This is really elaborate, but for what purpose?
Yeah, it seems purposely elaborate.
Well, obviously, but again...
No, purposeless. Pointless. Pointlessly elaborate, sorry.
Okay.
There's the word I was looking for.
Well, obviously it was done on purpose, but who orchestrated all this and why? That's the question. The victim, Monsieur Elg, he came to my restaurant alone. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. There were no other customers. When he got word he won the lottery, Mon Elg became very excited. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident occurred. No, there was no time for a phony to do the acting. Just so we're clear, there was no mirror in the restaurant after all. Je vous demande pardon. Forgive me, Your Honor. I lied because I wanted this mess to be cleared up quickly. What you have just done is commit perjury, Mr. Armstrong. I will decide how to punish you later. Oui. For now, we will hear your cross-examination. Mr. Wright, if you please.
He took that perjury charge a bit too well. But I'm guessing he'll be in more serious trouble after the cross-examination. Was he alone at the table as well?
My, oui. I saw him from the kitchen.
Yet the defendant, Miss Bird, remembers it differently. She swears there's another man at the victim's table.
Unfortunately for you, Trey. Yesterday's witness also testified that the victim was alone. You know, seeing you squirm like that reminds me of a certain coffee's bittersweet bite.
What kind of coffee has he been drinking?
It's not coffee, it's love. It's love that's bittersweet.
You mind I say that makes her seem wise all of a sudden.
What? That's... What?
I don't know, man. By old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct?
Oui, he comes often for my special coffee. I drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. It's special, I'll give you that. It's worth a sip just for the experience. Oh, you make me so happy, monsieur. You're most welcome anytime. I said it was worth one sip, and nothing more.
So, Mr. Kudo arrived at your restaurant around the same time as the victim. Maybe I should ask about his arrival in more detail. I mean, okay.
time was it? Because, I mean, yeah, he arrived 5 minutes later, sure, but what time did he arrive? What time did Glenn arrive? I mean, because apparently, from the timeline that Gumshoe gave us, everything happened at around 1:30.
And we have the autopsy report, don't we?
Yeah.
Where is the autopsy? Oh,
Right there.
Okay.
1:30 and 2:30 p.m. Oh, no. I cannot remember, monsieur. I believe we were told by a witness yesterday. The crime was reported at 2:25 p.m. by a kind of scary old man, sir. So is that perhaps jog your memory, witness?
Okay, so he said 2:55, right?
2:25.
2:25, okay. And the death was between 1:30 and 2:30.
Okay, so that would be...
That would be in the frame, yeah. Which means they would have had Glenn's body, like, somewhere in the kitchen or something, and then after they faked the poisoning, brought the real Glenn back out or something.
I guess?
Because in order to do the autopsy report, and plus if he died between 1:30, because the autopsy should be able to say what time he died, right?
Right.
So they would have had to, he would have had to die around like 1:30, let's say, and then carry his body out, have someone dress up as Glenn, do the fake poisoning, all within like an hour.
Yeah. And then, before the police arrive, because they would have to do all that to fake the thing, because when the police were called, the police were called at 2:25, according to Dick, right?
Yeah.
So that means that at 2:20 is when the fake poisoning and everything happened.
Yeah.
With then doing the setup version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Glenn was probably already dead by that point, right?
Well, yeah. They would have had to drag his body somewhere.
And then do the whole elaborate ruse. And they did that specifically so this way they got not only a sort of false testimony out of Mr. Kudo, or at least not fully correct because it wasn't the actual victim.
Yeah.
That means that also he would have left at 2:25 because he roamed around for about 5 minutes before he found a payphone to call the police.
So Maggie witnessed the real poisoning, passed out. She was probably unconscious during the whole fakes thing.
Probably.
So they probably dragged her in the kitchen as well as Glenn's body.
Right.
And then had Viola dress up as a waitress.
Right. Staged the whole incident. So that's why he thought he saw Maggie when really he just saw the backside of the waitress.
Yeah.
The serving girl. But he claims that he saw the serving girl poisoning in the coffee because it was part of faking it to make his testimony seem bullshit.
But this all would have had to happen within an hour. Because the autopsy can accurately report when someone dies.
Which means Glenn probably died closer to 1:30.
Yeah.
An hour beforehand. Which means that Kudo probably didn't arrive until sometime after 2, at the earliest.
Yeah, probably.
"20 minutes after he arrived."
So yeah, if he arrived at 2, then it would have been around 2:20 that the fake happening, the fake incident happened.
Yeah. So the victim must have arrived between 2 p.m. and 2:10 p.m. No?
Just after 2, huh?
Thank you for your help. Enjoy my memory, monsieur. You are wonderful. Ha ha ha. I can't sit here all the time and do nothing now, can I? The time of day will be added to the witness's testimony. Oui, monsieur judge. Everything I do it for you. Merci bien. That's French, isn't it? Ha ha ha.
I'm glad at least one person is in a good mood.
He is even humming a song to himself.
Jeez. Okay. Are you absolutely sure about the time?
When I think really hard, I am sure it was just after 2. Oui. It is about time I stopped serving the lunch menu. Quite right. I always break for lunch when the restaurants are serving their specials. I've been known to wind up a case early just to make in time. Ha ha.
I guess you should never go between a hungry judge and his lunch.
Oh, would you look at that? It's almost lunchtime already.
Wow, it's almost lunchtime? I guess that's time to end the episode to get some lunch.
Yeah, I guess so.
See you guys in the next episode.
Bye.